Hey guys, it's Molly, and today I'm going to be doing my monthly reading wrap up for September. So let's get into it. 13 books this month to talk about. Let's talk about it. So first we have Five Survive by Holly Jackson. This follows 6 teenagers, and it is a YA mystery thriller, and they are basically going on a spring break vacation. I gave this 4 stars. I really enjoyed this. Honestly, Holly Jackson's writing is really good, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it also takes place over the span of, I think, like 6 hours maybe, because basically they break down in an RV. So they're driving from Pittsburgh, like Pennsylvania or Philadelphia, somewhere in Pennsylvania. I think it's Pittsburgh. I don't know. Anyways, doesn't matter. They're driving there to Orange Beach, Alabama for spring break in a little RV. And there's 6 of them. And they end up getting stopped. And then there ends up being like a gunman. And he is like, one of y'all has a secret. You know who you are. Tell me. And then it's literally complete anarchy. Honestly, kind of reminded me of like Lord of the Flies. I've never read Lord of the Flies, but like when people like reference to that, when they talk about like anarchy, or when like younger, like when little kids are like crazy or whatever, that's like they're talking about kind of like Lord of the Flies, and that's kind of like how this book felt. It was really good. Gave it 4 stars. Okay. Oh, I know what I read next. I did a reading vlog for this book, but I finally read Fourth Wing. Woo! Okay, if you don't know what Fourth Wing is, I don't know what to tell you. This book went literally insanely viral over the summer. I think this came out in July. It never says the month. It usually just says the year for publishing. Yeah, it doesn't say the month. I'm pretty sure it came out in July. Like 90% sure it was July. And this book just went insane. Like everyone and their mother, I think, has read it. People that weren't even like fantasy people read it. Honestly, this is crazy. Little story time. I was at Target the other day. Not today. I went to Target today, but this happened the other day. And this girl, I was like in the book section, and I was kind of looking because they had Fourth Wing there, and I was like kind of looking at it, and she's like, oh, have you read Fourth Wing yet? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh my gosh, I love Fourth Wing. And she's like, I'm not really a reader, like I don't like reading that much, but I loved Fourth Wing. It's so good. And this book is like 600 pages, 500 pages, like it's crazy long. I read this within like 3 days. It was so freaking good. Dragons, Dragon College, Hot Boy, just fantastic. 5 stars. Love it. The next one comes out in November, and I'm so excited. Next. Oh, okay. So excited about this one. This is actually a new release. This came out this month. But this is Maybe Meant to Be by K.L. Walther. I'm turning into a K.L. Walther stan. She is the author of these 2 books, Summer Broken Rules and What Happens After Midnight, which Summer Broken Rules went like very famous last year. Not a lot of people liked What Happens After Midnight, and I don't think a lot of people liked this one either, or if people like have even read it. Her writing to me is very comforting. I don't know, like it just feels very like nostalgic and just comforting, and I can get into her books so fast, and I love her characters. This is a YA book, and it's based in a boarding school, I think in like New York or something, like upstate New York. And it follows Sage and Charlie, and Sage and Charlie have been best friends since they were little. Everyone at this little private school, boarding school, think that they should be dating, but they're literally like, no, we're not dating at all. And then these 2 new little people come in, or 1 new people, Charlie's twin brother, and then this new guy, what's his name? Luke. So Charlie's twin brother Nick, and then Luke. They come into the picture, right? And Luke is like new to town, and him and Charlie start hanging out, and then Nick and Sage start hanging out, and it's really good. And it honestly was just comforting. Like, it wasn't like groundbreaking. Like, I'm not gonna like talk about this till I die, but it was like pretty good. Like, I liked it, I'd say. I gave it 4 stars. Actually, I gave it 4.5 stars. Okay, next, I did something I have not done before. I listened to an audiobook. I actually started listening to this book probably in like August. Probably, I don't know. It took me so long to listen to because I can't just like sit and listen to something. Like, I have to be stimulated while I'm like doing it. Like, reading it, like I have to be like doing something. I have to be like driving, walking my dog, like doing dishes, like washing clothes, I don't know, like whatever. Like, I have to be like doing something. So this month I just had like, I don't know, just like kind of stuck to it and listened to it, and I got it done. And I'm not gonna like rate it because it's a memoir, and I feel like that's weird to like rate a memoir. But it was really good. It was so good, and it was so interesting. It's by Jennette McCurdy, who, if you don't know, she was Sam on Sam and Cat and iCarly on Nickelodeon in like, that was like 2012. I don't even know. I think it was like 2012, something like that. And she had a very hard childhood. She was a childhood actor. And she also had a very complicated relationship with her mom. Her mom was emotionally and, I don't know if I would say physically, like maybe physically abusive. And then also just she grew up poor, like just all these different aspects and things. And she was so honest, and I really appreciated it, and I loved it, and it was so good. So I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. And then I read The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I gave this 4 stars. I gave this 4 stars. It was very, very good. I don't know. I had like different thoughts about it. It was slow at points. It's a literary fiction. I'm pretty sure, like, it's not a romance. It's a literary fiction. And it's basically when you die. So it's this girl. Her name is Nora. She committed suicide, and she's kind of like in between life and death. And when you're like in between life and death, you go to this place. For Nora, it was the Midnight Library. And she basically has the opportunity to kind of fix some of her regrets that she had in her like main life, basically. And she like can go in and like every choice. It was so interesting because then I kind of had like some introspection, and I was like, oh my god. Because you don't think about like the small choices that you make and the big choices that you make, how much they affect the rest of your life and how they could change like everything. But at the same time, it's like there was a lot of reoccurring things throughout the different lives. So it was like she had a completely different career, and then the other, it was like 2 different careers, but there was like one main factor that was the same. And that was like, it was so interesting, and I gave it 4 stars. It was pretty good, and I do recommend it. I liked it. Next we have, where is it? Twilight. Is that the, yeah, that's the next book. I missed the stage when Twilight was popular. Like, I just was not into it then. I remember vividly, I was more, okay, so this book came out, when did this book come out? I looked at it later. I think it came out in 2012. Copyright. 2005. Okay, never mind. It came out in 2005. I was born in 2001, so I was like 3 when this book came out. Depending what month. I'm assuming it didn't come out in December. So I was like 3. And when I was in middle school and like elementary school, it was like not cool to read this book. Like, it was after all the movies came out. It was after like kind of the craze of it was over, and it was just, I remember it was so cringe almost to read this book. Like, I remember one of my like really good friends in elementary school, she read Twilight. Also, I remember when I was younger, these books being so much bigger. The same thing with the Hunger Games series. I started reading the Hunger Games series again, and I remember those books being humongous, and to me now it's like, oh, they're like 300 pages. Like, that's nothing. That's literally nothing. What the fuck? Yeah, I don't know. I just think I missed the phase, because I feel like the people who really enjoy this book, they read it the perfect phase in their life, the perfect phase in the world, and it was like, you either read it at like the peak craze of Twilight and it was like perfect, or you read it like a little bit after, because I feel like there was like a reboom with like the movies and people like were reading it then, and it was just, it was great. I didn't have that feeling reading this book. I liked the beginning part, I feel like, this part, but then once they started actually dating, I just got so freaking cringed out by both of them that I was like, yeah, I can't. I'm sorry, I literally can't. I can't. What is the main girl's name? I keep wanting to call her Alice or Allison. I don't think that's her name. I don't know, to be 100% honest. I couldn't tell you. Yeah, Bella. Oh my god, her name is Bella. I want to call her Allison. Like, I want to call her Allison. I don't know why. Her name is Bella Swan. I called her Allison Snow to someone the other day. I don't know why. Where the fuck did that come from? Somewhere in my brain. I don't know. I created a new character in my head. Yeah, I just wasn't a fan. I'm sorry. It was good. I'm not gonna lie. I really enjoyed reading this book. I also, a couple weeks ago, it was very rainy and cloudy, and the weather was amazing, and I read this, and it honestly was really good. Like, it was good reading it like that. I think I gave it like 4 stars. What did I give it? I gave it 2.5 stars, actually. Yeah, the ending just killed it for me. I'm sorry. The ending just killed it. Next on my Kindle, I read Divine Rivals. I feel like this book has gone kind of like viral recently, and I loved it. Like, I loved it. It was a little slow at parts, and it's a fantasy, but it's very like whimsical fantasy. I don't know, like, I don't know. It didn't feel, yes, they're like at war, but at the same time, it was like the romance was such a big aspect in it, which I feel like whenever you read like romantasy or fantasy with like romance in it, the romance is usually a subplot and the fantasy is usually like the bigger aspect of it. And I feel like in this book, the romance, at least for me, I don't know if like for other people, it took such a big center stage point for me that it just, I mean, it still felt like I was reading a fantasy, because there's like freaking like dragons. Actually, there weren't dragons. What were there? There were like gargoyles or something, like trying to kill them. But it was good. Honestly, it reminded me of Percy Jackson, now that I think about that, because of the gods. But yeah, I'm not gonna try and describe this book, because I honestly tried to describe it to my mom yesterday, and it wasn't working out. But magic typewriters, rivals, war, gods, gargoyles. All I'm gonna say. Actually, I don't even know if they were called gargoyles. I don't remember what they were called. Okay, next I read, I'm trying to like put, these books are like not in order right now. Next I read See You Yesterday by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I don't know what happened with this book. I really liked this, and then I really didn't, and then I really liked it again. It was so slow. It's a Groundhog Day, and it was just too long, repetitive, and slow at points. I'm gonna be brutally freaking honest here. This book was almost 400 pages. This book is also a Groundhog Day. It's called The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. This book, Actually, we're gonna do like exact page count. This is 285 pages. This book is 419 pages. This was way too fucking long. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say it right then. It is way too fucking long. It was so repetitive. I also did not like the main character. I did like this book though, but I did not like the main character. She was like quirky, kind of annoying. She did have some character development. That was the point of this book too, was like she was annoying and she became non-annoying kind of thing. There's a love story and it's in college. Basically, the main girl, she goes to college. She had a very traumatic high school experience, which also kind of triggered me because I also had a very traumatic high school experience. Sophomore year. Oh my god. Okay, anyways. And she goes to college and she, on the first day, she meets this guy and then she burns down a frat house. Wakes up the next morning, it's the exact same day still. So it's Groundhog Day. And then she ends up figuring out that the guy that she met on the first day, he's also in Groundhog Day. He was there longer than she was in the time warp. They try and fix it. But it just got so repetitive because, like, always, okay, you know, in, like, time warps, when they do time warps, there's always, like, they try and fix it at first, and then they're just, like, they have the fuck it moment, and they're like, who cares? Like, we're in this time warp. I don't give a shit. They had, like, 2 different phases of that. Like, they did that twice. I didn't realize that until I finished it, and I was like, there was too much going on. There was too much, and I just wasn't invested enough in the characters to care, because sometimes it's like, the book is long, and I liked it, like, Fourth Wing, the book is long, but I wish it was longer. Like, if she added 6 more chapters, I would have ate it up. I would have sat there and been like, yep, like, literally, I would have ate it up. This book I wanted to DNF so many times, but I was like, I just have to find out how the fuck they get out of here. Also, it was they never explained why the fuck they were in the time warp. They never explained it. They were just like, oh, they, like, figured out how to get out of it, never explained it, and I was like, I wanted to know why. Anyways, moving on. I don't know why that was so aggressive, sorry. Oh shit, wait. I lost my place on my list, so I don't remember. When you're watching these videos, if I'm, like, looking down, it's because I have my computer down here, and I have my, like, I write out all the books that I read on, like, a note app, and then I write, like, my ratings next to it. So sometimes I remember. Also, if I, like, read a book on my Kindle, sometimes I forget about it. So I don't forget about it if I have it down here, if you're wondering. Next, I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And honestly, I was disappointed in this book. This book, I feel like low-key has so many differing point of views on it. Some people love it, some people hate it. Some people love it to an unhealthy extent. Sorry. I am sadly not one of those people. I can't even tell you, like, the complaints I had with this book, because, like, the whole time I was reading it, I was just like, I like this, but there's just something about it that just nags me. I think it might just be Evelyn herself. She was very narcissistic. She was very egotistical, very proud. Obviously, those are all, like, on purpose. That's just, like, the meaning of her character. That's the whole point of the book, is the whole reason she got famous for the sole purpose of being famous. Like, some people, they get famous by accident. Like, they want to, not by accident, but it's just, like, the byproduct of what they're doing. Like, they want to be a musician, they get famous. They want to be an actor, they get famous. Evelyn wanted to be famous, and I mean, that's fine. Just the things that she did to do that were just, like, I understand that's the whole point of the book. Like, she had 7 husbands. Most of those husbands were to somehow climb her way to the top. And I'm not gonna say I completely hated this book, because I didn't. I gave it 3 stars, but I just wasn't a huge fan of it. And I can see now, because I've heard a lot of like complaints about this book, I can see now the complaints. Like I relate to you, honestly, because I wasn't a huge fan, but I can't really tell you why I wasn't, you know, like whatever. Anyways, I read Twisted Games. My god, y'all. Okay, I read Twisted Love, which I keep calling Twisted Lies. It's Twisted Love. I read Twisted Love probably in like July or June. I think it was June. I don't know. Anyways, I read it like a month in the summer. And I had some complicated point of views on it. Like, I still don't know if I liked it. It was good and it was bad. It was just entertaining in an aspect. Like, the characters were so just out there, and just the things that they did. Honestly, I did like this one more just because I hated Alex in the first book. That was like the boy interest or whatever. This one I liked a little bit more. I wasn't a huge fan. This is a complaint I have, okay? This is a complaint I have. Bodyguard romance. Okay? I'm not yucking anyone's yum. If you like bodyguard romance, that's fine. The only thing I cannot stand with bodyguard romance is the moral, ethical side of it. Okay, and you're gonna sit here, I know, you're gonna yell at me, you're gonna be like, Molly, it's a romance book. Like, nobody cares, nobody gives a shit. The ethical side of it. But it just, I don't know why it frustrates me so much, because also the way that he like acted to her at the beginning of this book, like when he was first hired as her bodyguard, he acted so fucking annoying. I literally was like, if I met you in real life, I would beat your fucking ass. Just saying. And like bosses them around and is like, no, you're gonna listen to me because I'm a big, strong, beefy man and you're a little princess. That's how I felt when I read this book, okay? That's literally how I felt. Like, we're doing a review here. I'm fully honestly reviewing, and that is my opinion. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I wish I posted on Goodreads. I don't post on Goodreads because people scare me on there. But if I did, I would post something like that. I'm a big, strong, big man, and you're a little princess. Oh my god, I crack myself up sometimes. I really do. But I don't remember what I gave that book. 3 stars, I think. What? She read it, finally. This has been on my TBR since April. Literally since April. I finally decided I've been trying to reread the Hunger Games series. I read the first book, got halfway through the second book, and was just like, I'm done. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna skip it and read this one. Because this is really the one that I needed to read, because the movie comes out next month, which comes out November 17th, and I'm literally going. I'm gonna go and see it. I don't give a shit who tells me I can't go, because I'm going. No one's gonna tell me I can't go, but I'm going, okay? I don't care. This book, this is the prequel to the Hunger Games series. I have so many thoughts about this book. It's the prequel to the Hunger Games series. I also just read this, so all the thoughts are like, not just read this, I read this like a week ago. All thoughts are fresh, kind of, a little bit. This is the prequel. This takes place, I think, 40 years before the Hunger Games. This is the 10th Hunger Games. I think the one in... Actually, I think it's the 75th is the ones in the movie, right? I was thinking for some reason it was the 50th, so it's like 60 years. Oh. Okay, how the fuck old is Snow? Would that make him like 80? Okay, whatever. Anyways, I guess this is like 60 years before. Okay, whatever. But we are following Snow, who is President Snow, who is he is the entire villain in the Hunger Games. Like, he is just the overall villain of the entire series. Obviously there's like other characters in the books that are like villainized, but he is like the entire root of every single issue. And you get his point of view with him at 18. And I had so many different opinions about him. I honestly liked him. Okay? I feel like everyone's gonna make fun of me. I liked him. Okay? I'm a Snow defender. Young Snow defender. But I wish that there was like another book to this almost, because to me, when this happened, so the book is basically, it takes place the 10th Hunger Games. Also, it was so interesting. Oh my gosh. I also want Suzanne Collins to do a book where she like breaks down the history of the Hunger Games, because they allude to all the other games. Obviously, there's been like 75 games. They allude to all the others, but they don't really talk about them. This is the 10th Hunger Games. The Hunger Games were created because of the rebel attacks. The rebel, like, war happened 10 years before this. So the kids in the Capitol who were all, like, Snow's friends, they were, like, 8 when this, like, war happened. So they remember, it's fresh in their minds, and they are asked to be, like, mentors of these Hunger Games kids. And these kids are like the same age as them. So they were also like 8. I think one of them is like 14. So they were like 4, 8 when this war was happening. So they're like not the ones to blame. Like they had nothing to do with it. But the whole point of the Hunger Games is to punish the districts with their kids, is to be like, you can't fight us, we have your children, kind of thing, you know? So this Hunger Games is like just so many things they created in this book are like very big prominent things, like the giftings, like before this book. Also, the way that the tributes are treated is so different. Like, I remember in the Hunger Games books, it is described there in this, like, even just the train they take to the Capitol. It's this very nice train, right? They get decadent food. All of their clothes are beautiful. They get, like, Katniss says that she gets fully dressed and ready. She gets her makeup and hair done. They get paraded around the Capitol. They're trophies. Like, they're basically seen as, like, these just, oh my gosh, just, like, there's not a lot of hatred towards them. There's more like amazement, like awe almost. And the way that the tributes are then treated in this book, they're treated like animals. And there's a lot, they refer to the people in the districts as barbaric, animalistic, not human-like, below Capitol people. Like it is just insane. And the way, like, I remember when I first read The Hunger Games, I was kind of like, ooh, this is kind of dark. This book was so much darker. Like, so much darker. And it was insane. It was so good. I think I gave it 4 stars. It was so good. This is Songbird, The Ballad of Songbird and Snakes. I can't wait for the movie. I can't wait. I literally can't wait. Next, I read on my Kindle. I read Out on a Limb. This book was really, really good. This is it's a accidental pregnancy trope, but I really liked it. And I don't know if I just haven't read enough accidental pregnancy. What I always considered accidental pregnancy is when it's like the plot is happening, the book is happening, and then we're like 60%, 70% of the way through, and they get pregnant. That was always what I thought accidental pregnancy was, but this was like the first 20% of the book. You already know it's happening. I don't know. So I liked it. I really liked it. Basically, Beau and I think her name is Winifred or Win, whatever. They hook up on Halloween. They don't know each other, and Win ends up getting pregnant. And so she like tells him, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna co-parent. She ends up moving in with Beau. Bro, this was so cute. And the friendship, like, because they have their friends too, or like in it. And it was the cutest thing ever. It was honestly the cutest book I think I've read in a while. And it was so, so good. Oh my god. It was emotional. Both of the main characters too are disabled. Like, they both have like issues. Like, Beau had cancer, so he has a prosthetic leg. And then Win has, I don't know what it's called, but like when your hand is like underdeveloped as a baby, because it's like when you come out of the womb, the baby's hand is like crushed against the wall of the uterus. I had a friend when I was growing up who had that same issue, but I don't remember what it was called. I don't know, but that's why it's called Out on a Limb too. I didn't know that, but that's actually so clever. It was so good. Oh my god. Literally, if anything take from this book, from this movie, go read Out on a Limb. Like, it was so good. It was so good. I was giggling, kicking my feet, and screaming. And like, I was laughing. I was laughing so much. My dad came into my room and was like, what are you giggling about? I was like, this book. This freaking book. And he like rolled his eyes and like walked out. I was like, it's good. It's really good. Next, I started. So one of my goals for fall this year is to read the entire Harry Potter series. And I started it. I read the first book. I'm reading this series on my Kindle actually, because it's on Kindle Unlimited. Which, if you are also reading the series this season, because these books are like perfect for fall, I feel like. And I read this book so fast. It was really good. I was not a Harry Potter kid growing up. Like, I just didn't care. I read growing up. I swear I read. I was like a big reader, big bookworm, but I just was not into Harry Potter. I think also these books came out in the first one came out in 1998. I was born in 2001, okay? Also, I have dyslexia. I didn't learn to read till I was like 9, so I didn't start reading until I was like 9 or 10. So like, books that a lot of people like grew up with, I'm like, yeah, no, I couldn't read. So I have no idea what you're talking about, but really good. Really good. I think I gave this like 4 stars. That was my reading book wrap up for the month of September. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you have a wonderful week. I will see you guys next week with my next video. Bye bye.